We also don't know anything about history, really. We're just pretty unfounded. Neither of us have degrees in history.
No. But Larry David does. And
True.
we watch a lot of him.
We watch a lot of Larry David. This is all second-hand Larry David. So that's good. And I mean, but we have a lot of opinions about history. So that's good. So
yeah, history, like in the olden days before they got really forensic about it, before like Edward Gibbon, history was mostly conjecture.
That's true. That's a good point. If this was a podcast in 1690, you wouldn't have to be correct. You just have to have an interesting story. You just have to be like, look, the Romans, like they were in space. That's why they were superior to other people. Yeah, easy.
Yeah, the early histories were just basically gossip.
And it was all like you're just pumping up your own country, pretty much. Like if you're a Greek historian, you're just like, Greeks, we were just 7 feet tall, we have big dicks. And, that's the history, folks.
Yeah.
And with those Egyptians, puny little Egyptians with their pyramids shaped like a boob. Yeah, because that's what they are. But then we have obelisks. We have big phallic obelisks. Obelisks. They have big boob-shaped pyramids. They have a big cat sphinx statue. Yeah. Pretty dumb. Yeah. Anyway, that's probably what like Herodotus was saying. So.
Yeah.
So we're just like that. Yeah.
Trying to get it back to the classical historical epoch when when history was as it should have been, all lies and propaganda.
That's the best kind of history.
Yes.
Like, I'm just saying, that movie everyone loves, 300, that comes from Herodotus, our main guy. That guy was a liar. He just made shit up. He just didn't care. No one cared.
In Plutarch's histories, you have people like seeing ghosts all the time. He called them your genius, and then he saw his genius, and it said, "You will die on the field of Philippa" or something. And then
that's awesome. Yeah.
They just like he just foreshadows things by having ghosts appear to people randomly. It's so funny to me. And then
that's great. So like, it's always that tale when like when this great leader is like a young boy and like a witch comes up to him and is like, "You will have 3 sons. And you will rule all of England." And then he does, and then the writer's like, "Oh, see what I did there?"
Yeah, we were talking.
That never happened. Come on. Like, shut up. It's like Macbeth. That's a Macbeth thing. Yeah, getting your future told when you're a kid, then it happens. Then see.
That's such an endlessly fruitful kind of story.
Well, the whole foreshadowing trope.
Yeah, the foreshadowing, and then they try to prevent something, and they end up fulfilling the prophecy by trying to prevent it.
Do you ever think it's already happened in our lives? Like when we were young, some guy like came up and told us some shit, and then it already happened. But like we're just not as great as like Julius Caesar. Some like old creep was like, "You will work in IT."
You will work in IT.
And then I did. And then he touched me or something.
And then he touched you. So you repressed it?
Yeah, I repressed it. Yeah. I was like, oh my God.
We all got our fortunes told when we were children.
Yeah.
But just they sexually assaulted us so that we would repress it.
That's what happened in Macbeth. They didn't tell you that the witches actually fondled him, and then he held it in. That's why he got so violent. Started cutting off people. Yeah.
There's just a terrifying subtext underneath every Shakespeare play. Like in what's the one where they have all these misunderstandings, and I can't remember.
Comedy of Errors?
Comedy of Errors.
Even Comedy of Errors?
Yeah, they all have early onset dementia or something.
Yeah. I mean, no one's really that dumb.
No.
I don't think anyone, even back then, I don't think people were that fucking stupid. Where they're like, I can't tell 2 very different twins. Not even that, so they dress, it's like, really, you don't know? Maybe you deserve to be conned if you're that dumb.
Maybe there was a water company that was poisoning the water system and making them all really stupid.
That's true. I mean, to be fair, this is Shakespeare time. People were watching plays in a wooden theater with like wooden pegs holding it together, and there's like standing room. It was like a fucking outdoor festival. It's such a shit show. I mean, the Globe Theater, God.
I always wondered what
I would never go to a Globe show.
No, you'd get set on fire. It's just like it always burns down at the end of every act.
I bet it burned down like every time.
Yeah,
it's like rebuilt it for the next show because like some peasant was like soaked in oil just from his work, and then he just like frictioned against another peasant. And they just lit up like a torch. No, especially because they didn't have microphones. He's like shout over all these peasants.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to do a fucking play here, man. I'm doing Othello. Can you stop, you pig farmer? You know?
Yeah, people heckling.
Yeah, also, you know what's unfair? The peasants get a better seat than the nobles. The nobles are way out in the back. The peasants have front row tickets. They don't even deserve the fucking play. They didn't pay. Yeah. God.
You know how Shakespeare was an actor? I wonder if he wrote really great plays and he directed them really well, but he cast himself in them and he sucked.
Cast himself.
Like Quentin Tarantino.
He always has the best role.
Yeah, he always has the best role and he just ruined it every time.
He's like Mel Gibson. He's like the Mel Gibson guy. He's like, I was like, can I be Hamlet? Like, no, you don't. You're like 45. You can't be Hamlet.
I mean, he made most of his money from like real estate. That Shakespeare didn't make all his money from writing plays. He just did that because he was rich.
He was exactly.
Which is what most of the best artists of all time have done. They were just already rich.
He knew when to step back and just start funding, little stores and art galleries and stuff. Yeah, he's a smart guy.
He got his money together by like managing a touring playwright.
Funny, he's like it's like Shakespeare presents another writer. Yeah,
Shakespeare presents Shakespeare.
It's like, I love to look out for the little guy. These young talent. I just want to try to develop them, so people can see them. These new guys. I don't know what's another.
I like the idea that Shakespeare has like a casting couch.
Oh no. He's like, hey, so you're here to cast for, you're here to try out for Juliet?
He's like, I'm gonna Ophelia. Arash.
Oh no. Yeah, he's like, so the Tempest, you're a hot girl on an island all by yourself, and oh no, I bet he did all kinds of shit.
Horrible. Just a bad man. He just he would
especially because I bet he had some hot starlet and then some noble was like, I would like to consort with her, can you set up a meeting? And then he would be like, here's Lord Pennyworth, you actress. And then they would he'd probably pimp it off his cast.
I'm sure he was maybe I don't know. How to get all the money for real estate from managing a touring play acting group.
We all know show business makes no money. This guy
makes no money, especially back then when nobody had money.
Yeah, they were paying Mozart with spoons. They couldn't pay this guy.
Yeah, actually, England did experience a surge of wealth under Elizabeth. So
that's true.
They
had a burgeoning middle class. That's right. Interesting. Well, that was a good one. We had a good riff there.
Riff. About Shakespeare being a creepo.
Yeah, a creep.
I'm gonna keep repeating the Ophelia joke. Like every time there's a silence.
A Midsummer Night's. What's some porn version of this?
Midsummer Night's Cream.
Oh no. Oh god.
Mac breasts.
Mac breasts. It's like Scottish. They're like, would you like to have sex?
Julius Caesar. I don't know.
Julius Caesar. Othello? No, I don't know. Let's see.
So he's a jolly Othello.
Othello.
He's a jolly Othello. That's stupid.
Oh man, yeah. Being a playwright back then, it's fun. Even Shakespeare, he was like, nothing's going on. I'm just gonna reach back to the Greek and Roman times, get some of those stories. Because he was like, there was some shit going on when he was a guy.
Yeah.
He just didn't appreciate. That's the thing. You never appreciate your own time period. You always look back, but then people in the future are like, oh my god, the 1600s. There's so much material, Shakespeare. Why didn't you go for it? Yeah. He could have done a whole play about discovering America.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't even touch America. I don't think he ever mentioned America.
So funny. I wonder if the generation after him, he's being hyped all the time. They're like, yeah, but there were some really problematic things going on, and he didn't comment on any of it.
Yeah, it's the whole smallpox thing. Never, not one word. God, you couldn't do one play about the Aztecs or anything the whole genocide.
Not one word. Yeah, he made a lot of money, but he kept it all.
That's funny. I wonder if back then that was a hack thing to it's all right, Crusades again. How many times?
That's so funny.
Dude, the Crusades.
Things that are a big deal, and then they're all
yeah, because now we all we see is World War II dramas and stuff like that. It's like, oh, come on, guy.
What if we brought Shakespeare back to life and he had a late night show?
Like David Spade. He's
just have a late night show. It's just for distracting you. It's not about.
His monologue is like each time it's like a beautiful sonnet. Like it's like amazing.
But
it's like, oh my god! It's like is his are these Trump jokes in iambic pentameter? Like what the fuck? Like, this guy's amazing. Yeah. He's just doing Carnivent jokes. Like, Trump was in the news tonight, and forsooth did I.
Shall I compare thee to an orange?
To Agent Orange.
Agent Orange.
Anyway, but
we should make a superhero movie starring Trump. I mean, a secret agent movie starring Trump called Agent Orange. We shouldn't.
It would be set in Vietnam.
He was
anyway,
young man Donald Trump. Yeah.
Yeah. What else can we say about that? No. Anyway. Okay. So we should probably introduce ourselves a little bit.
Yeah.
Because, not everyone. Maybe people outside of Utah will actually listen to this.
Yes.
That could be a thing. So.
Yeah. In the future, I think for now it'll be our listenership will be Brian Earl and my dad.
Exactly, yeah. And there's other, like, history nuts. I mean, this is all for, like, guys in their 40s with shorts, just listening to, just farting in their car, just listening to history.
They're the two most supportive people in my life.
Yeah. But yeah, no, so, like, Max and I are both, we're in the comedy scene in Salt Lake. Mm-hmm. We just love history. We're always talking about history. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we just thought we would do this. I guess that's all the introduction we need. That's good. Yeah.
Arash you already have some history material.
Oh yeah. We already have some stuff. Yeah, I mean, like that being said, we're dumb. We're not that dumb. We still read. We
read.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. We had some anecdotes. I thought there were some funny things.
Yeah.
Because I was reading this book. City of Dreams by Thomas R. Binder. Let me get. Yeah, it's over here. It's pretty big. It's a huge book, but it's really good. It's pretty much the 400-year epic history of immigrant New York. It's about all the different ethnic groups that came to New York, all this cool stuff. But it had some really funny stories because it was talking about when it was Dutch New York when they had Peter Stuyvesant. So the WIC, which is the Dutch West Indian Company. Which I don't actually know what's the difference between West Indian Company and East India Trade Company. Is one England,
one's in the West Indies, one's in the Indian Ocean.
So India is really the focus.
Yeah.
How did India get to be like the focus?
Well, because Columbus when he came here thought he was discovering India, so that's why they named like the Caribbean
West.
West Indies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, there are actual Indians in the Caribbean. Now they're mixed with the. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're I've seen I met a black guy from Jamaica, and his last name was Singh. It was interesting.
That's
crazy. It's pretty crazy. Yeah. Anyway,
there's a beautiful part in Moby Dick where he talks about he references the two Indies, and he's like, though you go to the furthest Indies, you will still find blah 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 blah.
Oh yeah, you go to
it's lovely, the furthest Indies.
The furthest Indies. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So. Also, it seems like the British ran the East India Trade Company, and the Dutch were the West India Trade Company. I don't know.
I think the Dutch ran both.
Oh, they ran both.
I'm pretty sure.
I mean, it's probably like Apple and Windows, right? Or Microsoft or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like it's the same thing. Whatever. They're still slaves. Slaves, spices. The three S's: slaves, spices, and.
Oh no, you're right. It was the English.
Oh, okay. So they had half and half.
Yeah.
Yeah. People forget how big the Dutch were, man. I mean, now we didn't know them for Amsterdam and stuff, and like prostitution or whatever, and like biking lanes. But back then, big slave importers, big guys in the slave industry.
They didn't like people who weren't white.
No, they were like, you should work in manual.
Yeah, you should just work.
They were like, that really does suck. Someone is deciding your whole life.
Yeah, if everyone, once we discovered there were people who weren't white, we as an entire civilization just decided that they were less.
You're like, I'm not going to mop anymore.
Yeah,
like, this guy's going to mop. You're like, what a brazen decision.
I know.
Just make,
but, civilizations take it in turns to further civilization.
Yeah, we're all kind of like frog jumping over other civilizations. Like,
yes.
Hey man, can you give me a hand? Then you like fuck him over and you like jump over a fence. Yeah. Like psych. Yeah. Now you have to oppress someone else so you can get over here. But then eventually we've all oppressed each other, so then we got to find a new guy to oppress, which is crazy. But,
it's just
probably aliens will probably enslave me.
I know.
Yeah.
There were people who that was their whole job, and if they weren't like enslaving people, they felt like depressed because they weren't getting anything done.
The numbers, like,
They were like, now that I'm enslaving people, I can get out of bed.
God, I'm really trying to land this one ship because it's gonna have like 1,000 slaves on it. God, the boys
crazy.
back home in Italy are gonna be so happy with me because my job is on the line right now.
My job is on the line.
Oh, the old wife at home, she's nagging. God, we got kids on the way. I gotta get these slaves.
There's a guy who got this huge shipment for cheap of slaves, and he went home to his wife, and then he was like, I did it, honey, and they have this loving hug.
Oh God, no, he was hugging her and her pregnant belly, like rubbing it, like, we're gonna be a family. We're gonna be a family.
We're set. This is something we don't have to worry about anymore. Money is something we don't have to worry about anymore. All we need to do, we'll just focus on you, and I'll focus on the kids.
Oh no, but then she starts feeling a bit guilty about where the money's coming from. It's like, I know what you do, Harry. I know what you do.
I know.
It's never your business why I put you in this fucking house. I got you everything you wanted.
It's Robert De Niro.
It's like you never asked. Yeah. Oh God.
It's Robert De Niro made to look young, and he's like in the 1700s.
Yeah, it's the Irishman, but no, it's the Dutchman. Yeah, it's the Dutchman.
The Dutchman.
Yeah. Oh God. Okay, yeah. Martin Scorsese, if you want to make that movie, the slave epic of from the other side of the story. Yeah,
that's so crazy.
Anyway, as I was saying, back to the story.
Yeah.
So, the Dutch. So the West Indian Trade Company, the Dutch, they send this guy Peter Stuyvesant to New Amsterdam, which is New York. This is Manhattan. And then these idiots, it's funny. Manhattan before it was New York. They only colonized the very tip, just the tip of the peninsula. So they started tip first, went down the shaft of the peninsula. Anyway, but so they had this little castle, and like it was a big trading port. Because people back in Holland wanted, I'm not kidding, it was all for like furs and shit. Like, just wanted furs, beavers, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so this Peter Stuyvesant's there, and he's a big member of the Dutch Reformed Church. I'm not sure what that is, but he just hated. And then all of a sudden, all these like religious minorities start coming to New York. There's like there's Protestants, Lutherans, and he's like, all right, guys, that's a bit too much. It's kind of, this is a bit of a safe haven, but let's keep it down. And then who shows up in 1654 but the first Jew in New York? This guy's name is Jacob Bar Simon. This guy might be the bravest person in history. Like, the first Jew. That is the scariest position. To be the first Jew.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because, I mean, it's funny because you think about it now, New York is like the Jew hub.
Yes.
But there had to be a first Jew. The first Jew to break ground. Jumero Uno, as I call it. This guy came in. So he comes in and apparently did caused little controversy, apparently. He came in August 1654, but then more Jews came, and then everyone was like, whoa, it's too many. God. But also nobody wanted to like actually like forcefully expel them, because they would feel bad. So they just made life like really hard, so they would just like fuck with them. They couldn't own property. Oh, shit. All this awful shit. It was really fun. They were just trying to like passive aggressively get the Jews out. But then there were so many of them, they're like, all right, you can stay. And then they just kind of,
I was reading I was reading Will Durant, and throughout this whole podcast, it's mostly going to be me talking about what I read in Will Durant.
He loves this guy.
I love that guy. Yeah. He's funny, but he was talking about the plight of the Jewish people, and he said he said something like the heart of their plight has been like them being culturally. Them having put a cultural emphasis on business and becoming really good at business, so good that like people in the country got nervous that they wouldn't have any business anymore for some reason. So that combined with their hatred of foreigners just made this insane. That the hatred of Jewish people is really the most insidious hatred, I think.
Oh yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's so strange.
It's one of the longest running ones in history. That's because everyone's like scapegoated them somehow. They're like, which is weird because like they're always wrong. Like either like either the anti-Semites think that like Jews are big capitalists or they're communists.
Yes.
So it's like you gotta choose.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, people would just make anything up about them. Just anything.
Yeah, it's horrible. Yeah.
It's so strange that, and part of it I think was them being a stateless minority for a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you don't even hear about the Kurds a lot.
Yeah.
Because they just don't have a state. It's not.
But yeah, because they haven't been like expelled all over the world and like just the whole diaspora. Oh, it's horrible. Yeah.
But
those poor guys.
It's so like he said a lot of problematic shit. I can't remember, but I remember going ugh sometimes. But he was.
Yeah. Well, what year is this? Like the 30s. That's you could still be pretty problematic.
He's a very compassionate man, but you could tell there was some lingering kind of suspicion.
Yeah, it's always funny because it's the same with these New Yorkers, these New Amsterdammers, because they were like, "Hey, we like you guys just because you just to leave us alone with your black magic." And it's there's always this backhanded thing like, "Hey, Jews, it's fine if they live in New York, even though they're evil. We'll just keep them in their own court." Like, poor guys, they just could not catch a break until Jerry Seinfeld. So that's pretty much.
He was trying to explain how it just became the most pervasive hatred in history, basically. Like it's not even based on like exploiting Jewish people most of the time. It's just like they hated them and want them out. Yeah. Like with other races, like the whites would just be like, oh, they're useful. But for the Jewish people, they just wanted him gone.
You can't even be there. Yeah.
It's so strange.
That is crazy.
It's so weird that happened, and I don't think he did a great job of explaining why that happened. But I always wonder about that. Like, what happened to make them just so hated?
Yeah.
I mean, why? It seems totally unfounded. Like,
they're definitely one of the biggest scapegoats.
Yeah. It's
pretty much everyone has found a way to blame them. Because probably the first one is like the Christians were like, oh, these Jews would put our guy Jesus up on their that's when it started.
I found out I'm like almost certainly 1/8 Jewish, maybe a fourth Jewish. Oh. So I'm like wondering about it more now.
I was trying to think of a pogrom pun. Pogrom, get me a pogrom.
Wallace and Pogromit.
Yeah, Wallace and Pogromit. Yeah.
Stupid.
A bit of cheese. It's like,
oh no.
They're coming for us, Gromit. We have to go to the moon. And they just like fly to the moon to escape the Russians.
Yeah.
Oh man. Imagine Nazis trying to like, oh my god, no, I got a Wallace and Gromit for you. All right, Gromit's the Jew, and then Wallace is just helping him out. He's like the nice Polish civilian who's like on their side. Mm-hmm. And then the Nazis show up to their door, and they're like, "Let us in. Are you harboring Jews?" And then he's like, "No, I know nothing about this." But then the Nazis go to the kitchen table. There's 2 plates with cheese. So there are 2 people there. They're like, "Where is the second person?" He's like, "There's no one here." And then they search the attic. And they can't find anything, and then they leave. And then Grandma comes out. He's like, "Thank you."
Thank you.
Yeah. It's like, this is Inglorious Bastards with claymation.
Yeah, oh my god.
Anyway, sorry, that was a bad sketch. So, we can. Yeah.
That's okay.
Maybe we should move on from Jews.
Should we?
All right. Sorry, guys, but this is not the first time in history someone has left you guys behind.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Just kidding. No, we're a big fan. We are. We love all
big fan.
People.
No, I
in
think
the world.
That's a legitimate thing to talk about because.
No, it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more. I just don't know much. I just don't want to say anything extremely dumb.
No, you're. But it's. I mean, he was just saying that like it was just people feeling like they weren't gonna have enough money or something like that. It's the strangest thing.
It's always like a weird. Yeah, like this is what they said about. So the in New Amsterdam, they were like someone said the Jews would make the colony too diverse.
Oh wow,
like, that's just too much. Like Lutherans, because I guess Lutherans were already pissing everybody off. So like we can't do this. This is too much.
Yeah.
But also, big ups to the English, because they came and the English just didn't care. They were like, whatever. They were like, just whatever.
Well, like in the past, it was Muslim countries were the only places Jewish people could go.
Yeah, pretty interesting. Most Muslim cities had like a Jewish quarter until the 20th century, which is it's pretty dumb because then all this like nationalism caused everyone to like.
Yeah. They were real, like Islamic societies were pretty late comers when it came to anti-Semitism, like real anti-Semitism.
It's pretty unfortunate. I think it just spread like wildfire. That's the.
It's odd. Yeah, they just had to pay, like, even if Christians went there, they'd have to pay the same tax for not being.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because they had like the tax for for non-Muslims. It was all kind of just like general, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in most of the medieval ages, the Muslims were like, if you're a person of the book, like if you're in the original trilogy, then you're good. And then Zoroastrians also counted because Zoroastrians believed in a was a monotheistic too. So they're like, all right, you guys get a pass too. So pretty much as long as you only worship one god, you're good. That's pretty much.
I wanna have Francis Ford Coppola direct, like the Christianity story and the Jewish story.
Just a kind of like in Godfather mode or like Apocalypse Now kind of thing.
No, what I want to happen is he's going to direct all three. He'll do Jewishness first, he'll do Christianity, then he'll cast his fucking daughter in the one about Islam, and then he's just going to as like Muhammad's 9-year-old wife or something. And it's just
I got it. Al Pacino for Moses or Jesus? I don't know.
Jesus
is Al Pacino. Yeah, James,
Italian Jesus.
Yeah, Marlon Brando is like Moses or something. No, actually, Marlon Brando should be God.
Yeah,
he would be God.
It's like, and then they can't tell what he's saying.
What did you do to my boy, my beautiful boy?
What did you do to my boy, my beautiful boy? You're just totally like throat cancered out. And
God, yeah, like Jesus shoots the two Romans in the Italian restaurant, like you shoot them, you put the gun down, and you leave. Yeah. They tape the gun behind the crucifix or something.
Ray Liotta is Jesus.
Ray Liotta.
Every since I was a kid, I always wanted to confound the priests.
His mom was like, "You look like a prophet. What is this?" He's like, "You like my new outfit?"
He doesn't know what he's gonna do. He's like at home, is trying to figure out his life. He's like, you know what you should do? His grandmother, you should become a prophet. Yeah. Every time you're around people, you're prophesying. That's what you should do. You should become a prophet. They're just Jewish grandma.
God, Scorsese, if he hasn't already picked up one of our ideas, then
I know.
He's got to.
This is going to be mostly things for Martin Scorsese to do. We should have a wish list on our, just like a to-do list on our website.
This is also going to be a common occurrence. We're just going to be quoting Goodfellas pretty much the whole time. So just so you know, I'm just to warn you.
We both have been listening to too much Colin Quinn, I think.
Yeah, too much.
That's what this is.
Oh man! I forgot. There was one more thing from that City of Dreams book. It's really good. You guys should all get it. This is really fucked up. Like this is why I love history. There was a guy. So I guess there was a group of African Americans. Well, they weren't African Americans then.
Yeah.
They were just stolen people. There were slaves in the Americas.
They were Africans.
They were African. Yeah, this is 1641. Okay.
I think if you already call them African American, that's like already being hateful.
Yeah, that's like already that's fucked up. I'm just being so 1641, very early. There was this group of slaves were accused of killing this guy. Mm-hmm. So they were like, all right, if none of you confess, we're just gonna pick one of you, pick straws. We'll just hang one of you at random.
Oh yeah,
so fucked up. So they pick straws. This guy that picks a straw, his name was Big Manuel Garrett, and his nickname was Big Manuel. He was a huge guy, big. His name was Manuel the Giant. So they put 2 ropes on his neck. They threw him off the thing to hang him, and both the ropes snapped, and he just fell to the ground. And the Dutch were just like, well, that's a sign from God that you should live. And they just let him go. And then he actually ended up being one of the first free black people in New York. And then he actually ended up buying a farm. And then his descendants, I think, actually still own. Mm-hmm. And it's all happened because he was too fat. He was too fat to be killed. So
my God. There's a story about that in England too.
Oh, really? Okay,
there was a big thug fella back in the day, and then he murdered somebody, and he was sentenced to hanging.
Oh, okay.
And then I think it may have been that he didn't actually do it, and then people like knew about it, but the magistrate thought that he just should be hung anyway because he was gross. Or something.
He was just gross.
Yeah.
Like, what did I do then, bruv? Yeah. Like you never wipe your ass. You're disgusting.
Just this magistrate. Yeah. Well, he looks like a criminal, so if we put him down, I know that'll be a bit of a deterrent for the others. And then he would just like, fine, hang me. And then they tried to, he was a huge man, just a brute.
Yeah.
And they tried to hang him. He just flexed his neck. And then but he was just still hanging there when they dropped him. He just flexed his neck. Yeah, he just flexed his neck and just was like, trying to live. And he like lived there was there for like 30 minutes or something, and they were like, cut him down. And then
the guy's like, this is a shit show. Like, people were just in the yard watching this hanging, like, God, this is what you call a hanging.
Yeah, this is something my grandpa told me. I don't know whether it's true, but then
that's best kind of history once again.
Then they sentence him to hanging again, and the executioner says, no, I hung him once. I carried out the sentence, and the guy went free.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, the executioner is always the guy with the black bag on his head.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I already did that. He's already faced his judgment.
He's already faced. It's the will of God that he goes. It's the will of God that he goes, sir.
That really is amazing, just like the lack of, like, no one back then cared about human life. Like, they was killing at random just to teach other people. They're like, all right, well, you are all peasants. We'll just kill one of you, whatever.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
in Mark Twain's The Prince and the Pauper, it's like most of the story's backbone is about how much people were killed back then.
Oh, yeah, no, it doesn't. Like, we live in this cushy life. But it's like, imagine if, like, one of us just, like, you were working at Starbucks and you just, like, spilled the coffee and they just drowned you in coffee. Yeah. And then left your body there and you're like, let this be listened to all you.
Yeah, it was so mob-like. Like, we gotta send a message.
Yeah, because that mob was the only communication channel. Like, there was no Twitter. You had to do mob
rule.
Mob rule. Word of mob.
Mm-hmm.
Big word of mob times.
And it's crazy how little jurisdiction the king had over anything back then.
Man. I don't know if I could see someone be hanged. Also, that's rough.
People would turn out. That was like the finale of Game of Thrones. Every time somebody was hung, people would be like, "Did you see it? Did you see the
especially
hanging?"
Like if you went down to like tie your shoe and they already dropped them, and you're like,
Can we turn it back, guys?
Can you guys put the board back?
Can you just do it again so I can?
Yeah, no, that is the worst. Hanging seems painful too.
Because
there's two hangings. There's choking hanging or break your neck hanging, which is a better one.
And that's what they did. I thought they like almost exclusively went for breaking your neck.
I think so. Yeah. But sometimes they're just too dumb. They don't. I don't know.
Yeah. They didn't drop them enough. Because there has to be a bit of a drop before it breaks your neck.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it just hurts.
What other executions?
What other executions?
Walking off the plank, burning a steak is way worse. I'd rather choke than burn.
Well, that's supposed to be one of like the more humane ways they did it, because the fire it was really hot and then it just desensitized your nerves.
Oh, right. It would be like at first like and then you would eventually just go, I'm good. I'm numbed out.
And then part of
you probably have one good scream, a nice blood curdling scream. As your blood would probably curdle.
Right. And then your body's like, well, this is happening, I guess, and then it just shuts off your nerves.
God. Being executed, that is rough.
Being executed is rough. Yeah. We should make that the quote for this episode. Yeah. Being executed is rough.
That's the episode.
I think that's so funny.
Man. But yeah, do you have any other lore? What kind of lore do you got?
Lore, I wanted to talk about Bartholomew Roberts, the pirate.
Oh, yeah? Also, we got to say, we are big, avid gamers. That's also where all our history knowledge comes from. Mountain Blade, Warband, or the god Sid Meier.
Or Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed, very good. Assassin's Creed 1, underrated. You could just do so much shit. The best part of Assassin's Creed was you could just go to the market and you just push a guy into his market stall and like oranges would follow him and kill him.
I know.
And they'd be like, what did you do to this man? You have killed him. And then they would like try to
It was so detailed, and the graphics were better than anything they've done recently.
It was great, yeah. It was cool because like you would ride to like the Saracen part of town.
And just attack a huge army and just...
it's great. Just jumping around. Yeah, I would just LARP as a guy. It was awesome.
Yeah, such a good game.
Crusades are good. That's a good... Top 3 periods.
Right.
Nice. Yeah.
Top 3 periods.
So much tumultuous, very tumultuous time.
Yeah.
Anyway, this
Do you remember when we were first hanging out and then you were like being roasted by somebody? It may have been I can't remember. And then I was like, he had a hard time in the Crusades. You could leave him alone.
Leave him alone.
We were like at a diner. I didn't know you that well.
He had a hard time.
It was like he had a really hard time. Can you just give him a break?
He lost the Holy Grail. Okay,
He lost the Holy Grail.
Gone.
He had it. He lost it.
His library burned down. The Library of Alexandria. You may have heard of it. Okay.
Maybe at the end, the most righteous person gets like the Holy Grail.
Oh yeah, it's like a World Cup.
It's just like a World Cup.
Yeah. No, all the players get like their hour with it to like kiss it, and, like take photos, and then they got to put it back in the chest. It's like, all right, where's this going? Oh, the archives or something.
Yeah. Shakespeare, pervy Shakespeare. This is good. Maybe he's like, all the world's a stage, and we are only players. And then he's just fucking around. Just all of a sudden humping some lady from behind. We're players.
Oh man, his celebrations when they just closed the play, just did a fucking great week of shows. He's like, wouldn't be anything except but we all gotta give thanks to this guy, the main dude, Shakespeare. Yeah, and he like breaks out a big gourd of wine. Yeah. Oh man.
Shakespeare. Yeah.
He's like, that's what I like after a play. Wine and wenches, man.
Wine and wenches.
Oh, could you put me in your next play, my lord? It's like, no, you dumb skank.
He's got some dirty, he has some dirty jokes in his plays.
I know. Oh, yeah. Because back then you had to sneak him in. It was all innuendo. Mm-hmm. People were just doing innuendo until forever. Like, we barely just got into saying things directly. Mm-hmm. You had to be really smart if you wanted to be dirty. Yeah. Because now we can just say whatever we want.
Oh. I just read that Ariel Durant, Will Durant's wife, she helped him write the books, and she was Jewish apparently.
Okay, so he probably couldn't. He probably wasn't a big anti-Semite.
Yeah, probably
good.
not.
I think having a Jewish wife is a good sign.
She helped him write it.
That's good.
And then she wasn't credited on the earlier books. Because I think people just didn't like reading books by women back then.
Didn't take it seriously.
And then later on, they had a cute relationship. It was really cute.
That'd be funny. Like she types a bunch of stuff and she goes to bed. Then he goes on and like just starts making edits. Mm-hmm. Just like crosses out all her.
Ida Kaufman was her real name, and then just because he wanted to protect her identity, he renamed her Ariel for the books or something.
Ariel Durant. Mm-hmm. Man, that's crazy. Yeah, imagine back then you had to have a fucking nom de plume.
Yeah.
Now people with their real name will just post their dick on Facebook, Like it's crazy. Like they no shame.
Yeah.
No nom de dick.
Ooh, at age 15, she roller skated to her civil wedding ceremony at City Hall. Oh.
Isn't that a sign that you're too young?
Yeah.
If you do that, that's a bit weird. Yeah.
Oh, promptly fell in love with her teacher, William Durant. Ooh.
Oh, he was a teacher.
Yeah, 13 years her senior.
Oh my god. Was he 28? He was 28 when she was 15?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh my god.
Yeah, a little not good. A little not good.
That'd be weird, especially like, what kind of history do you know? She's like, nothing, because I'm 15. It's like, oh, we're a great match. This is amazing.
I'll teach you everything you will know. And then she ended up being amazing, and just before his in the later editions, once they started crediting her, in the introduction, he'd talk about how great she was every time. Like, she's so witty and she helps me with all this, and they were both old.
And, bro, she doesn't even remember World War One.
Yeah.
You're too old.
She doesn't even remember.
Yeah. She wasn't even there on Armistice Day, okay?
Yeah,
she doesn't even know what fucking boxcar they signed the treaty in.
Does she know who Dreyfus is?
Dreyfus, yeah.
She heard of Dreyfus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can she even recite Balzac, my guy?
I know.
No, she can't. God.
And then there's a beautiful little biography here.
I totally fucking sideswiped you. Who's this pirate we're supposed to talk about?
Oh, yeah. So Bartholomew Roberts. I was into him before Assassin's Creed ever came out because I was obsessed with pirates as a kid.
What was his nickname?
Black Bart.
Black Bart, I remember. There's Black Beard and Black Bart.
Yeah, and then
blacks.
And I think this came after his death, but people called him the Dread Pirate Roberts. And you find allusions to it it's a very fictionalized version in Princess Bride and stuff like that.
Okay. But what was his specialty? Was he like a privateer, or was he like a full-on pirate?
So there was a pirate, this really cool pirate named Howell Davis was he was the dashing trickster pirate.
Oh, the handsome rogue.
Yeah,
was like
handsome rogue.
kissing fucking
I'll show you.
governor's daughters and stuff.
He's beautiful. You guys just look up a picture of him while you're listening. But I'm gonna show Arash a picture of him. No, that's so.
That guy's not hot. What are you talking about?
No. I'll find a pic. This is how he's portrayed. I don't think
he's a bit chubby. He's a little bit of a chubster.
Yeah, I don't think those are.
He's a bit of a chunky monkey.
Picture.
I don't know.
Okay, this is Howell Davis.
Okay, well he has like a bit of a. I'm trying to think of it, like Jeff Bridges kind of look.
He does have.
Like Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, but look at that's how he's depicted. He like always dressed up for battle and stuff.
He literally has. Well, in this one he has like a. 70s disco pants, and then he has like a weird kind of getting laid shirt.
Yeah. But he was supposed to be like this handsome rogue, and then he had these ingenious ways of taking over cities. Like there were like these canals behind the city, and he wanted to get in and sack it, and he wanted to get around the walls. So they like got canoes. They bought some canoes or stole them from a Native American tribe, and then they just took the canoes down these canals, and they came in behind the city, and then they just tore the place up.
That's like from a movie.
Yeah.
Especially props to him for teaming up with the Native Americans, you know?
I know.
A lot of people make
or
that
having
mistake.
stolen them. I don't know.
He probably was like, how much do you guys want these for? They're like, I don't know, some bushels of wheat. He's like, how about, I don't know.
Yeah, The Way of Pirates is this website. Yeah. But
no, pirates were cool, man. They were,
yeah. That's so cool. And then...
also props to Somalia for keeping the tradition alive. You guys,
And he would also come in, and he would pretend to be officials from other countries and things. He would have this whole backstory, and he would convince them he's this official, and he was very eloquent, and he would come in, and then he would just convince them to open the gates somehow, and then they would, and then his men would come in and fuck everything up.
Dude, doesn't stuff like that just make you feel very unaccomplished? Like, this guy is has so many skills. He's like interpersonal skills, communication, leadership, fighting. He's a businessman, all these things.
Yeah.
Before he was like 30. We're just in a fucking basement apartment.
Yeah.
This guy.
This is Black Bart Roberts, the greatest pirate of them all. A book by... He doesn't say his name. Oh,
guy, whatever.
We'll have to post his name.
We'll post the whole.
Terry Breverton. Terry Breverton.
Terry.
It says, in the extreme heat, the pirates needed fresh water, but because of the lack of landing places and the heavy Atlantic rollers, relied upon native fishermen to supply them. Davis sent a longboat ashore with some men guided by natives in their canoes, to whom he gave some old muskets. And then. Let's see.
That's badass. No, because the natives probably, they probably wanted to get back at the British.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we hate these dumb redcoats.
These
Also, like, nothing is cornier than being a redcoat in the pirate age. Mm-hmm. They really are just the most henchmen. Like, they're just bland, flavorless. Mm-hmm. The pirates were the cool people back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think this is the right. I don't think that's the right story. Actually, it must have been another story about canoes. But yeah. What happened was Bart Roberts was just like a boy on a ship, on a merchant ship.
That's how they all start.
Yeah, the ship was attacked by Howell Davis's pirates, and then they talked to Bartholomew Roberts, who I think was navigating the merchant ship. And they said, hey, just become a pirate. And he was like, no, I'm not doing that. That's bad. You were bad.
Yeah, you're a bad man.
And then he was like, Bartholomew Roberts was really religious and stuff. And then they said, well, how about you are coming with us? And
well, you are going. Yeah.
And then you're going to navigate for us because you're good at it.
Was him and this Howell guy kind of a mentor-mentee kind of thing?
Yeah.
That's badass.
I think it was a little bit like because Bartholomew Roberts was this tactical genius, and Howell Davis was just this great talker and charmer.
I'm sort of imagining one of those like those montages where like it's like the father-son. He's like showing him how to like do a golf swing. He's like, they're building a little toy house. It falls apart. They laugh together. They're eating ice cream with their arms interlocked and stuff.
I know.
And it's like, Howell, thanks. He's like, no problem, kid. I'm proud of you. You're gonna be a good pirate someday. Yeah. And then they like look at the sunset and stuff.
Yeah.
Barbados or something. Yeah.
But I like to think so. He was this like technical prodigy and navigational prodigy, Bartholomew Roberts. That's why they made him come on board.
Oh, okay.
Because
they knew about him.
Yeah, they
like,
knew about him.
You're the guy.
You're the guy.
Yeah.
And then so he was like this young man. And then Howell Davis was this charmer, and then he like charmed him and made him like the pirates' way of life.
Also very D&D, where they have like skills. It's like Howell Davis's charm was a good 20, so he was able to influence this guy because his navigation was a 17.
Yeah.
So together they formed a very good D&D squad.
A pirate D&D campaign would be fun.
Yeah,
that'd be so
good.
fun. And then so he charmed him, and then Bartholomew Roberts was starting to like enjoy the pirates' way of life. And then
this is a classic downfall, you know. Like this is the classic like he was just a well-to-do guy.
Yeah.
Now he's in the crime world.
He's in the crime world, and then so Bartholomew Roberts was on their boat for a while. Was sailing with them for a while. And then Howell Davis tried to pull his shit like one too many times, where he pretended to be somebody, and then they like found a flaw in his papers or something and knew it wasn't him. And I was like, yeah, come in, have dinner with us.
No, he went there with like a Groucho Marx mustache and like glasses. He's like, hello, I am Mr. Johnson. I am here to see the governor of Kirk's Jamaica.
What if he just went crazy?
Yeah.
And then
they're like, we don't have a Mr. Johnson. There's no Mr. Johnson who has an appointment here. Oh, I mean Mr. Thompson. Like, wait a second, it's that pirate. And they like swipe the disguise off. It's like Scooby-Doo. Yeah.
It'd be funny if he like waltzed in and he pretended to be someone just crazy. I'm Napoleon Bonaparte.
Yeah, I'm Napoleon.
He hasn't lived yet, and then they kill him. Like, that guy's way famous and hasn't lived yet.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my god.
That guy's emperor.
No, the fact that that was his go-to plan is like, all right, how are we gonna get in here? He's like, well, I'll just assume one of my many genius disguises and charm my way through. And he's like, I think that's a bit of a crutch, Hal. I don't think you should keep doing that.
People are. We've done that 4 times. People are gonna.
I think they're gonna catch on.
Yeah.
Like, people have parrots. Word of bird. You know, it gets around. You gotta.
Word of bird.
Word of bird. Oh man, that's so funny. He just keeps doing it.
I know.
Oh man.
And then he got caught that time and they killed him.
And, they killed him?
Yeah, they killed him.
Oh shit,
and then,
okay, so he died.
And then they had to elect a new captain. They were like, he just didn't come back. They were like, oh.
So Robert's like, oh.
Yeah, and then
yeah.
So they elected Bartholomew Roberts, and then he was like, okay, I'm captain now. And then he ended up being the most successful pirate. He would have been the most successful pirate in history. I mean, he made the most money, but then he wouldn't stop because he had this huge empire and all these ships that just like sailed under him, under his flag.
That should be a movie. That's incredible.
He franchised.
Franchised. He had like sub-pirates. He was like, all right, if you ransack 10 ships and then you turn them all into pirates and they all ransack 10 ships, you will make 200 doubloons. And I will get 100 of those. But you have to buy in with 50 doubloons and 5 slaves or something. I don't know. Yeah,
it's a big pyramid scheme.
Oh man! Wait, so because he is really not rated that high in the pirate scale. He's pretty
you
low.
just don't hear about him much. Like people who know about pirates, like talk about if you mention Bartholomew Roberts, they're like, oh, Bartholomew Roberts. It's like mentioning Carlin.
It's like it's a whole thing where it's like when people ask like who's your top 5 rappers or like comedians, and like everyone says the obvious like Jay-Z or like Carlin. It's like, all right, we know they're the best. Who's your up and comer?
The most successful pirate was a guy named Henry Every, who just
I've heard of him.
He just took some little ships and then he had this huge prize, and then they took it really ingeniously and they had all this treasure and he just retired.
I think Uncharted 4, the game is about him, where like you're trying to find his retired loot.
But he just stopped doing pirating because it was dangerous and he had enough money.
Good for him. That's the only way out. It's like John Torrio, the mobster. He had his whole empire, then he got shot, and he just gave it all to Al Capone. and then Al Capone has got syphilis and went to jail. So sometimes it's good to retire. That's the thing. That these like tragic characters never know when to just get the fuck out.
Bartholomew Roberts was like, I think he really got off on being the big tactical.
Oh, probably because he was a big nerd his whole life. It was like, Roberts, he's only good at navigation, which is like the nerdiest thing you could do on the sea. Yeah, and then Then he's like a pirate. Yeah, yeah.
And so he ended up having like at one point he had like a fleet of ships, and he arranged to attack. Like he had fewer than 17 ships, but he took over 17.
Damn.
In one battle.
I can't even do that in Sid Meier's Pirates.
Yeah.
Even in the game, I can get like 3 ships, and then my character gets too old and dies. So yeah.
And this is he was amazing.
That's cool.
And then he would just the way he would plan was so beautiful. And was he more of a Caribbean guy? Yeah.
They were all in the Caribbean.
Well,
okay,
I think he made forays into the. It's like some pirates liked to come to the Indian Ocean, and then also they would attack. They would be in India and kind of to the west of India, to the west of the point, and then they would come around and do Madagascar, just attack
like
ships around Africa.
Go all around Africa, just go.
Yeah,
okay.
And some would go back to the Caribbean.
Circuit. You just kind of like trace all the continents, just go back.
They would, and that's where, because they were out there they wanted to attack slave ships.
Yeah. Oh, it sucks because back then no canals. You had to just go around.
Yeah.
You can't like.
Yeah.
Or what do they do? They just like walk across, get a new ship, and then they just go.
Yeah, like they get away with a good prize, and then they move to a different ship.
Yeah,
so that nobody knows. Yeah. They're like pulling off a heist. All right, we got to move to a different ship here.
Or you see a ship with a bunch of legs, like he's just like running around.
They pull up the boat, and their legs are underneath it, and they just run across.
Just running across the entire Suez, like to the fucking Mediterranean. Yeah, like the cartoon noise.
Or like they put the big oars outside of the portholes, and they like row, but the ship like lifts up and they row.
No, I saw that happen in the Flintstones. You can do that. That's a real thing, so it counts. Yeah.
I love the idea of them pulling up the boat and just running across.
Oh yeah, like fucking 100 miles. Yeah, dude, no canals. There was no canals back then.
And then they're like sneaking up on a fort, and they're like, "There's a ship out there." It's like that's just like running around. It's like
fine. First of all, the ship is behind a bush. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's running around. It's fine. And then they look away, and the guy's like. No, it's just running aground. I swear it's closer now. No, it's not.
It like stands up and moves. Oh god, that's hilarious. Whoever that pirate was, that was probably Robert. He was a genius, technical genius.
And then, but he was really interesting. He didn't like alcohol. He didn't drink, and he didn't like alcohol.
He didn't drink rum or anything.
No, and then he would forbid drinking after a certain time. I think it was like 8 o'clock.
What?
Yeah, they had to have their lights out, and they had to quit drinking.
What kind of fucking boys' camp is this?
I know.
I knew he was a nerd at heart. He's like, you guys can't have any fun. I'm trying to like read my tomes or something in my cabin.
He was like Colin Quinn. He just drank tea.
Yeah, he just drinks tea.
That's all he did.
That'd be so funny. You're like on the deck of a murderous pirate ship with like a nice Earl Grey. Like, all right, what's the agenda for today? Like, well, we're gonna murder like 1,000 people.
Well, he orders an English breakfast with a little Union Jack that's set on fire.
Yeah, like a tiny one. Yeah, the little tea cardboard thing. It's like a Union Jack flag instead of a. Oh, that's.
And then he it has a little rig so we can take the flag down and put up the Jolly Roger while he's drinking. He's like, yeah.
Some guy with the telescope is like, oh my god, they're pirates. Fuck, they're
looking at his tea.
Yeah, his tea with the telescope. Yeah.
Looking at his tea. I was like, oh, they've run up the Jolly Roger.
That'd be so funny. Like someone's like interning for him. It's like, did you get his tea yet? It's like, oh fuck, no, I forgot. Like, and don't forget the blueberry muffin. Oh, blueberry muffin. I got it.
Interns for pirates. It's so funny.
He's all like,
he's
like, okay, print 2 of those. You need 2 copies. You need one for him, one for him. Okay. Sorry.
Like he's just sitting down copying the rules.
The rules of order. He's like, oh yeah. He's like, all right, guys, raise of hands. Who wants to attack Barbados tonight? It's like 50-50. Okay, well, we put it up to a vote. We'll just leave it alone then. Like, all right, whatever.
But he had a big pirate.
Oh, you brought a pirate code.
He had an actual pirate code.
What's some other pirate code? Let's go to these.
This is from Wikipedia. Every man has a vote in affairs of moment.
I guess that they vote. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Has a equal title to the fresh provisions or strong liquors at any time seized, and may use them at pleasure, unless a scarcity, not an uncommon thing among them, makes it necessary for the good of all to vote a retrenchment.
I see. So so when you pillage booty, everyone gets an equal part of it.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's an equal
Good.
part.
What a democratic society.
Yeah, like pirate
Yeah.
ships, like Greek pirate ships, are considered the first like democratic thing ever because they would vote on a captain and then they would just
Those oily bastards. Yeah, good for them. Just wrestling each other.
That's so funny. I think it would be funny because Swedes have all that oil to call them oily.
Oh yeah.
That's a stereotype about Swedes.
Swedes.
Yeah, they're fucking oily.
Oh yeah, they do have oil. Don't they?
Lots of oil.
Yeah.
Like,
That's why they're able to be socialists because they're just like,
Yeah.
if you have all this oil.
Yeah, that's how they're
get
able to
this,
fund their amazing safety net.
Oh, it's
I think if all America like legalized drugs and prostitution and everything
There's
there
a den of
is,
vice. We would cure cancer.
yeah, we would cure cancer.
God.
We would have a great safety net for people who are poor. It would make it so that everything can be regulated.
Exactly.
Like prostitution could be like a business.
Yeah.
And, like you can get like shitty shit. You can go get moonshine, but nobody gets that because alcohol's legal.
Yeah, and we all know prohibition was a bust.
Yeah, it was a bust.
Horrible.
It's the same thing that's happening with prostitution now.
Yeah.
Where there like diseases are running amok among people who are in the sex trade.
People on drugs.
Yeah, people on
Horrible.
drugs.
Yeah.
And then like there's that one legal the Bunny Ranch in Nevada, that legal
God.
brothel, and everyone there, like, it's very well regulated, and there's like they have a cleanliness standard.
Yeah, they also had a show on HBO.
Yeah, do they?
Yeah, it was
I didn't know
weird.
that.
It was terrifying.
Yeah. And they do they have like a dick check, I guess, before you go in. They check your penis.
Yeah, I'd like that job.
Yeah.
No, I would just like hurt people's self-esteem. Be like, you are clean, but that thing is horrible.
That's
Yeah,
not a
I'd be
good
like, that's
penis.
not a good penis.
It's not good.
I'm gonna laugh at it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a terrible
Laugh at
look. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man.
Not a good one.
And
But
then-
you don't have chlamydia, so that's good. Anyway, let's get on with this pirate code.
And then
Yeah.
2, every man to be called fairly in turn by list on board of. This is so well written too.
Yeah, he wrote these.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
his own-
Every man to be called
okay.
fairly in turn by list on board of prizes, because over and above their proper share, they were on these occasions allowed a shift of clothes. That's interesting. I
So
don't.
they keep clean.
Yeah, they keep
It's pretty
clean.
dirty on a ship. You're gonna get this
Called
rats.
fairly interred on board of
Three,
prizes.
3. No person to game. What? You can't gamble.
Yep, no gambling. No person to game at cards or dice for money. He was
Wow.
like Mormon pirate. This is he
Damn.
was like
That's
the
probably why he
Mormon-
was successful. 'Cause he
Yeah,
just wasn't-
except he drank tea, so that would.
yeah. Okay, he was like a Quaker.
He was
pirate,
temple
yeah.
worthy.
Temple worthy. Yeah.
Bartholomew Roberts was temple worthy.
I bet the missionaries like rode up to his ship at one point.
Yeah, and he was really nice to him. He
Hi,
sat him
guys.
down.
Yeah, come on over. Let's,
come on.
Let's play some bridge. Yeah, let's do
You,
some.
you know, it's not for me. I
yeah, it's not. Not really me.
I keep a lifestyle, and that's not very compatible with the church, I think.
I do meditate every day.
Yeah,
a
you
little
meditate
bit.
every
Yeah,
day. I
yeah.
consider myself very spiritual.
Yeah, very spiritual. Because you just have this vast ocean. It's beautiful. You just look at these amazing sunsets. You're like, something's got. It's a painting.
Yeah,
you know?
it's a painting. It's
great.
Like, a part of me thinks, I don't know how this could be without God.
I love how Robert, this pirate is just Gary Goldman, pretty much.
He's just a very
wholesome pirate.
wholesome,
yeah,
very
yeah.
sweet man.
Sweet pirate.
It's just like,
Yeah, and then all his like crew like, is this weird that our boss is like kind of a pansy? Like, shut the fuck up.
shut the fuck
He'll
up.
make you laugh.
Oh yeah! Shout out to Gary Goldman,
Yeah.
one of the nicest people I've met. Actually, just
Yeah.
a sweet man. He's just so nice.
And Jew.
And a Jew.
Yes,
And a
no, just kidding. But anyway,
good
moving
old,
on.
yeah, good old
Okay.
Jew.
What else is on there?
Let's see.
Lights and candles.
Like if they defrauded the company to the value of $1 in plate, jewels, or money, marooning was their punishment.
Oh.
So they couldn't.
This is the thing. He's a nice guy. But he's kind of like those nice teachers you had in high school who are very nice and pleasant. But if you cross them, they'll fucking. It goes away. They'll really punish you. If you fuck up their I don't know, what do you call it? They'll kind of extend their hand, but if you bite it, they'll really.
Yeah, but so what
Marooning, God.
This is how they put you on a desert island, and you're alone, of course, unless somebody else did a thing, and then you had company.
Yeah.
And then they would give you just some grog, which is just watered down liquor. They would give you a little bit of food, and they would give you a pistol with a bullet.
Would they come back for you or just let you kill
Nope,
yourself?
they just left you there. But yeah, that's like you could try to survive and get picked up by a ship somehow, or if you didn't want to deal with it, you could just load the fucking pistol and kill yourself.
It'd be funny if like a ship comes, but it's like a French ship, you just kill yourself.
A
You're
friend?
Like, yeah,
I thought you said a friend ship.
a friend ship.
They like come around, they're like, "Hey, buddy."
Yeah, it's a friendship, a relationship.
Yeah.
And you're like, God damn it, I don't.
That's where
yeah,
friendship
yeah.
comes from, because there were these ships that went around doing random acts of kindness.
Yeah. Picking up maroon pirates.
Yeah.
Hey, don't kill yourself yet. We got a big bunch of hot dogs grilling.
We got a bunch of hot dogs grilling. They're
He's
just
thank God.
neighbor ships.
Neighbor ships.
They're just
But
neighbors.
they're so like there's such cornballs. It's like I can't do it, man.
I can't do it.
No.
He's on board and he hates it every last second.
Yeah, they're all like Ned Flanders types. Like, hey,
Yeah.
Diddley, yeah, what are you?
They're at port and he just runs away and they're all sad.
Oh god.
Yeah. So and imagine being marooned and you have a little bit of powder. And then you don't know whether to kill yourself yet, but you have to keep it dry until you decide.
And there's a flint, you gotta keep that going.
Mm-hmm. Then you just have to keep it dry until you decide, and then you decide to kill yourself, and you go back, and then you've kept it in a cave, but moisture is accumulated in the cave, and it's not usable anymore, and the gun just doesn't work, and you're just like, oh, this is what I do now. This is where I am now.
God. Oh, it sucks also because you also can't drink the water because it's ocean water.
Yeah.
It's salty.
Yeah, so you
just
gotta
die.
You find water by other means. If there were coconuts, you could break those and get the water in there.
Oh, that's horrible.
That's how a lot of people survive. You could get moisture from plants a lot of the time, but if you didn't know what to eat, you could die from those.
The only real luck you can have is if the island is inhabited by this like sexy race of like island villagers.
Mm-hmm.
They're all naked. They like teach you how to spear hunt and like you just have like a harem of like little tiny South Americans hanging out.
Yeah, I hear them.
You're like, hey, thanks. Yeah, like
I keep thinking of
like,
harem.
I'm just the king of these Ecuadorians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to make a harem and haunted house called Harem Scarum.
Harem Scarum. Yeah.
So yeah, that would happen to you. If the robbery was only betwixt one another, they contented themselves with slitting the ears and nose of him that was guilty.
Jesus, this guy.
So if you stole from somebody on ship, if you stole from the captain, if you stole from the group, if you defrauded the group, you'd be marooned.
If you put like a bad tea bag in, like you put like an old tea bag, you say this doesn't taste strong enough. Cut his ears off.
Yeah. Well, they wouldn't cut them. They'd cut their noses about here. They cut their nostrils, and they would slit their ears in a bad place too. And
That's
then
not so bad. So he just got a little snip, and then it grows back. It just heals.
yeah, and then this is here. They would slit the ears and nose of him that was guilty and set him on shore, not in an uninhabited place, but somewhere where he was sure to encounter hardships. They would like curate the place.
They would put you in like Boston. They'd, like,
Yeah.
go put you in
It's
like shitty cities. Like they just took you to Philadelphia. Yeah. Like, this city sucks. Get out of here.
Yeah.
You're like, New
And then
Jersey.
your
Get the
nose
fuck
and
out.
ears really hurt, and you're somewhere you don't speak the language.
Yeah. There's all these like Dutchmen just like, oh, guten Tag. Like, fuck no. I don't want to be here.
Or if he just had an especial hatred of French people, they'd go all the way to France from the Caribbean and drop him off.
Like, you fuck up. They sail 3 months across the Atlantic just to punish you, and then they come back.
Yeah, it's so funny.
That'd
And
be
then
fun.
they go on. They don't tell him, and he's like an intern. They go on tour. He's like, go get us some coffee.
Oh my god! Fucking imagine you're crossing the Atlantic. It's like a month. It's like, I forgot the maps. Oh, can we go back? I forgot the maps. And you go back. And say, I forgot the compass. And like this fucking guy. Like he's just I'm so sorry.
alright, I forgot the
stove
compass.
is on. We gotta go back. 3 months. Like the little map thing. Back to the.
Some ships just had compasses like nailed into the ship.
Oh, it's probably like a. Oh yeah, I imagine the nicer models had it all on there. Yeah.
There's a part in Moby Dick where the compass that's on the ship gets demagnetized somehow. I think that's where I read it. And then Captain Ahab's like, I know how to do it. And then he gets the thing and he magnetizes it a certain way. I don't know. But let's see.
Captain Ahab.
Moby Dick's like all I read.
Yeah,
So
Max is obsessed with Moby Dick.
yeah,
He
that's
loves
like
it.
I only read that over and over.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Okay, the light and candles to be put out at 8 o'clock at night. If any of the crew after that hour still remained inclined for drinking, they were to do it on the open deck in the
Oh,
dark.
okay, so they have a smoker's patio
Yeah.
that could hang out.
Yeah. It wasn't a pirate ship. Do you want drinking or non-drinking? Yeah. smoking or non-smoking.
Excuse me, I am trying to enjoy my meal.
Bartholomew Robert Ship has a stewardess who just gets up and is like, the exits are over here.
Yeah, she's like a nice like middle-aged hostess, like airplane hostess.
Yeah.
She's like, hon, would you like some milk with that coffee? And you're like, oh, of course. You know what, Wanda? Yes, I will. Would you like some rum with that?
They're all really gross and cat color, but he puts it up. He's like, boys.
Yeah, boys.
These boys.
Hey, Wanda, come on over here. Give us a kiss. Like, I wouldn't kiss your ugly mug. Like, that's Wanda. That's her.
Wanda.
Yeah. She's a salty old dog, isn't she?
Yeah. That's Wanda.
Oh, you. Yeah, she's like a big mole on her.
Yeah, she's got a big mole. And they milk that.
Disgusting.
Gives off milk. Anyway, what else happened?
Let's see, what's some juicy ones?
Okay.
To desert the ship or their quarters in battle was punished with death. That's a standard part. You can't desert.
Don't desert your post.
Oh, there's one. The musicians to have rest on the Sabbath day, but the other 6 days and nights, none without special fate. Oh, so they have musicians.
Yep. Most ships had musicians, and you
imagine being a comedian doing a gig on a pirate ship, like a cruise gig. Mm-hmm. Funny.
in Herman Melville's like precursor to Moby Dick White Jacket, he talks about the different people on. It's boring. I didn't read it all, but he talks about the people for like 100 pages. He talks about all the people on board the ship.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's like, and the musicians were the most hearty, and they loved playing, and they were happy.
It's
and
rough though, because once you run out of songs, you're on there forever.
Yeah.
Like, hey, like what songs do you know? Only Elton John, greatest hits.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They're just composing on the ship all the time. They're just like, we got to make an album, guys. Let's just get to the studio and work this out.
I've just been working on this. It's like one of those open mic nights with like acoustic guitar players. Like, I was kind of working on some in my garage. This is like a fucking Wonderwall rendition. It's like the pirate's like, "Arr, you've already heard the Wonderwall." And they like throw you off the fucking ship.
Yeah.
Arr, you are a hack, sir.
Play something that gets us going. Play Seven Nation Army.
Yeah. Seven Nation Army. Army.
That's so funny.
No, like you're just telling jokes. You're like, the British, what a bunch of homos. And then like, they're all cracking up. I'm like, man, that talk about Blackbeard. And they're quiet. Like, oh, okay, sorry. He's a friend. Okay,
he's a friend.
He's cool. He's cool.
Are you shit talking Blackbeard?
Yeah.
Shit talking Blackbeard could also be a quote for the.
They say the sun never sets on the British Empire, but I don't know about that.
Mm-hmm. It's so funny.
Sun never sets on my ass, if you ask me.
The sun never sets on my ass.
They're all laughing like, arr, he has good jokes.
He has good jokes.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Let's see. Okay, the captain and quartermaster to receive 2 shares of a prize, the master boatswain and gunner 1 share and a half, and the officers 1 1/4.
What's those ranks? They have a gunner. They got a guy.
Master boatswain. What's a boatswain?
A boatswain.
Yeah.
Boatswain.
Also known as petty officer, deck boss, or a qualified member of the deck department. On the
deck department.
Is this?
This sounds like a middle management who's trying to be like really important. It's like, I'm the boatswain here. I call the shots. I'm like, come on, Bill, you're just an officer.
Yeah, and he just like studies physics on his own. He's like, I could have been a great physicist, but he couldn't have. It's just like pop physics. He just reads like who's that guy? Richard Feynman or something.
Oh yeah, he's just writing some kind of airport novel.
Yeah, airport novel.
What an idiot.
Yeah, he hates his life.
Boatswain. Honestly, boating terms make no sense to me. I don't even
He's like divorced and can't see his kid.
He's like, hey, because I work at Domino's, I get some free pizzas if your kids are hungry. Like, no, Dad, you're lame.
Is the senior most rate of the deck department and is responsible. This is mostly Wikipedia, and is responsible for the components of a ship's hull. Oh, okay. So he's got the.
Okay.
He's got like
honestly, I didn't know Pirate Society was this organized. I literally just thought it was like a bro fest, and somehow the ship was just in a direction.
A lot of them were bro fests, but if you were a good pirate, you kept the law on the ship.
Okay.
Keep their piece, pistols, and cutlass clean and fit for service. Let's see. Cutlasses are interesting.
Good sword.
Yeah, because they were shorter, so you could fight
It's
in
like
the
a
deck
scimitar,
of...
but not as fucking big. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
like a little,
they were shorter, so you could fight at close quarters.
yeah. Wait, are cutlasses pointy, or are they kind of like the curve?
They're a little curved.
Yeah.
They're a little
And
curved.
cutlasses have the cool hand guards, so you don't get your hand a little poked.
Yes.
Imagine if someone cuts your hand like.
Yeah, they've got a slight curve to them.
Yeah, and it has that cool arm, like finger guard, so you can like punch a guy in the face with it. It's
And
pretty cool.
short, broad saber slashing sword. It says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then what else?
So, like,
Oh, here's one. No boy or woman to be allowed amongst them.
no boy.
If any man were to be
pedophiles, yeah.
found seducing any of the latter sex and carried her to sea disguised, he was to suffer death.
Damn.
So that when any fell into their hands as it chanced in the Oslo, they put a sentinel immediately over her to prevent ill consequences from so dangerous an instrument of division and quarrel. So they didn't allow women because everyone would fight over them. Yeah,
that's probably a good point.
Yeah.
But also it's like this ship full of incels just flying around.
Kidding.
But then it's worse. Then once they get to land, they probably just scurry out the ship like rats, just go to the brothel.
Yeah, no, so few pirates kept their money. They go on, they'd spend it on alcohol and whores as soon as they got to land. Sex workers, I'm sorry.
Wait, does he have a rule about like whacking off on the ship?
What?
Is it, like
Oh yeah, let's look for whacking off on the ship. That would be right here.
Yeah.
Okay. But then here lies the roguery. It says, they contend who shall be sentinel, which happens generally to one of the greatest bullies. What? Who, to secure the lady's virtue, will not... Okay.
Oh, yeah, he's talking about, like, if you bring your girlfriend, it's like, hey.
Yeah, and then they will secure the lady's virtue, will let none lie with her but himself. Oh, that doesn't make sense. Okay. But
it's
then,
funny how like that rule is like by far the longest one.
Yeah.
That's probably what everyone cares about.
Yeah,
so,
maybe it's probably a huge problem.
Hey,
like having women on board in disguise.
Tortuga, can I bring her own chief?
They have a whole thing about disguising women and bringing them aboard. That's
hilarious. There's like a woman dressed as like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah.
Just like bring her in somehow.
There are 11 rules, and that's one. And then no striking one another on board, but every man's quarrels to be ended on shore at sword or pistol.
Okay. So the ship is kind of a safe space. Then when you get to shore, that's when you really
that's when you can fight. And the quartermaster of the ship, when the parties will not come to any reconciliation, accompanies them on shore with what assistance he thinks proper, and turns the disputant back to back.
Jesus.
At so many paces distance, at the word of command. This is beautifully written.
No, I was just saying, like, most of these pirates probably couldn't even read this.
Yeah. They just read it aloud,
read it aloud,
They turn and fire immediately, or else the piece is knocked out of their hands. If both miss, they come to their cutlasses, and then he is declared the victor who draws the first blood.
Damn.
Yeah. And let's see. That's a real writer who wrote that. That's a real writer.
Do you think he wrote it or the intern wrote it?
Let's see if they say... okay. It doesn't say. It doesn't say. It'd be hard to know, like, if they passed it down. I don't think they would, like, list the author. But maybe, like, Bartholomew Roberts was probably the most educated.
Dude, so many times, like, if you're just on a ship, you, like, fuck up, and someone's like... and just, like, points at the big list of rules.
And then they're like, what does it... And then they have to agree with... They have to just be like, what does it say?
Yeah, it's like, what does it say? It's like, oh, you can't read? No, I can't read. I'm illiterate. Well, it says, no drinking after 8. You're like,
all these boorish pirates, you're lying to me.
You're lying to me.
It doesn't say that at all.
Yeah, it's like, it says, give all your food to Jim. It's like, no, it doesn't. Yes, it does.
It says, suck my dick.
No, it doesn't. Get the captain. It's like, guys, shut the fuck up.
Scurvy. Hey, Scurvy Joe, suck my dick.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Scurvy
Joe. Yeah, all right.
Good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. There are, like, all kinds of pirate codes, I guess. John Phillips articles, Edward Lowe.
So everyone had a bunch of rules.
Yeah, everyone had rules. Henry Morgan was a bastard. Henry Morgan
was
a real bastard. Yeah, but he would be mad if you called him a pirate because he considered himself a privateer, but then just broke the rules.
Dude, that's the worst. He's like a Zuckerberg kind of guy.
Yeah.
Or like some Elon Musk who's like, I'm not a tech nerd. I'm a visionary.
I know.
You're like, no, you're a tech nerd.
Yeah, he would attack. He was a privateer for the English and attacked English ships on occasion.
Yeah, privateer. Honestly, privateer is not as cool as full-on pirate.
Right.
Privateer is like still has the flag of a.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a Union Jack with a little pirate skull in the corner.
I can't remember his flag. Some of their flags are really interesting.
Also, this is randomly related, but like I gotta say, the British did a really shit job with their colonial flags in the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've seen Caribbean flags. They're so confusing. Like you can't tell what country it is. It's like Saint Lucia. It's like a Union Jack with like a palm tree, and then it's like a green and like that. Well, but then Barbados is like a palm tree with like a cutlass, and then a Union. It's like which one is? Guys, come on! Yeah.
One of Bartholomew Roberts' flags was him with standing on two skulls.
Wow.
And it was I can't remember. It was like two islands he really hated.
Oh, this one.
Yeah. This is the one, him standing on two skulls, and then one says ABH and the other says AMH. And that means a Barbadian's head and a Martinican's head.
That's amazing.
Yeah, he hated Barbados and Martinique.
He hated Barbados. He hates Rihanna.
Yeah, he hates her.
That is the coolest flag I've ever seen.
Yeah, they've resisted him, so he made a whole flag about how much he hates them.
Also, this is weird, but I'm getting a little bit of ISIS vibes off that flag.
Yeah, man.
It's pretty ISIS-y.
This is his usual flag. It's him holding a cup, holding a drinking glass with death, and he's like, "I drink with death. I am not afraid of death."
What a cool guy.
Yeah.
I'm saying both those shirts look like nice, expensive designer T-shirts you buy.
I
somewhere.
know.
It's like this is my new brand, Bartholomew. Yeah, this is
man.
like.
This is
I want that on a shirt. That's so cool.
And he always dressed well. He took after Howell Davis in that way.
The hot guy. Yeah.
The hot guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then let's see. And then Blackbeard's flag was.
I bet it sucked. I don't know.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, is it?
It's so good. Yeah, it's
hating on it
look at this. Look at this.
Oh, devil! But it's similar to Robert's.
It's a little similar. It's like
It seems like also you only can have. It's got to be black and white. You got to have some kind of skeleton, and then you got to have like he has an hourglass and a spear. He's very emo actually. He's
an hourglass and a spear and the
this
devil
is incredibly
horns.
emo.
And then he's stabbing a heart. Yeah, and there
this
drops
looks
of
like
blood.
This looks like a fucking like emo band cover. Like, you broke my heart. You pillaged my island.
You pillaged
Blackbeard. Yeah. I
like,
walked the plank.
It's so funny. He like quits pirating and wants to become a musician. Black Bard.
Black Bard.
Yeah, Black Bard. But yeah, he didn't kill Blackbeard. Didn't well. We can talk about him another time.
Yeah.
There's so much about Bartholomew Robert.
That was good. No, you know, I think pirates will be a running theme of ours. Yeah.
And so Bartholomew Roberts died because they took a big prize and broke the rules one day. And his pirates had a huge drinking party, and he kept telling like, "Stop it, stop drinking," and then they wouldn't because they were so happy about the prize they took. The next day they were all too drunk, and they were attacked by a pirate hunter or just a navyman, and then he was like, "Everyone up," and they were so tired they didn't get anything done. So like Bartholomew Roberts had to go on deck in the middle of fire and try to rally them all, and then he got hit with grape shot in the neck.
Good God.
Yeah, so they grape shot, for those of you who don't know, are just like little balls that they stuff into a cannon, and it's like a big shotgun. They shoot them all out of the ship. They were supposed to target crew members. And then, he got hit in the neck with that, immediately died. So he was just dead on board, and they're all drunk. And then they didn't want them to, they like dressed him up in his finest while they were being attacked.
No, and then they drew a little penis on his face. Like, yeah. They just drew a mustache on him, and then they said,
but they do it all, but they have him, and they're all there and sad. Yeah. And then they're like, somebody somberly draws balls on his head.
He's gone.
Yeah. It's like they're not even crying. They're just like, he was a good man. Balls.
Balls.
And then they dumped him overboard because they respected him so much they didn't want the enemy to get his body.
Yeah.
They just dumped him overboard. And then he had this beautiful cross that was meant for the King of Portugal, and he stole it from a ship, but this beautiful diamond inlaid cross, and it's huge. So he had this big piece of bling he would wear all the time, and he was cool.
Well, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Hey, let's see what we're at. We're at hour 18. I guess we're good.
Yeah, we got 1 hour 18. Yeah,
good stuff.
Do that.
Should we sign off?
Yeah, we can do that. The Bartholomew Roberts died. Sad.
Sad, but Sid Meier's Pirates, good game.
Great
Get on
game.
there. Very good game.
Yeah, just download it on Steam. That's the best game
Yeah.
of time.
But so that was kind of our first episode.
Mm-hmm.
We'll it's gonna be it's gonna be good. We'll have
Yeah.
some shit. Yeah, and send us anything you want us to talk about. Any fun historical stuff. Any historical figures. Also on this day in history, the United States Bill of Rights becomes law. 1791. Also,
amazing.
It was Nero's birthday. So, good stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not a very eventful day. Not the best. I mean, Bill of Rights, Bill of Schmites, whatever. Yeah, anyway, so, yeah.
That's so funny. This day in history, is that where you were?
Yeah, there's so many weird history sites. There's they're all history sites from 2002, so...
1944, December 15th, Glenn Miller, one of the best-selling recording artists of his time, is killed when his U.S. Army plane disappeared over the English Channel.
Dude, planes back then, if you went over the Atlantic, you just died.
Yeah.
Horrible.
The Glenn Miller band played, they're amazing. I like them.
Yeah.
The Glenn Miller band. They're so good. I didn't know he died that way. That's crazy. Just got shot down.
Sad.
Gone with the Wind came out. New speed limits in England.
Yeah.
Mudslides in Venezuela.
Hey, what's new there, though?
They put everything down, like winter ice storms in the U.S.
Some of these are these really important?
Yeah.
Landslides.
Nigeria helicopter crash kills governor.
That's hilarious,
That's
but
funny.
not, Whoa.
Whoa. And they've got this 42 unbelievable photos.
Okay, well, let's just look at one of these.
Look at one of
This is
these.
one.
It's just a woman with great big breasts in a bathing suit.
Back then, it was just a freak show. Oh, hey.
Like they're all just women in bathing suits.
All right, now we're just looking at spam.
Now we're just looking at
anyway, no, thank you for listening. If you haven't been listening, we'll be back next week.
I'm going to set up an Instagram account for the podcast.
Yeah, we will have a podcast, Instagram and Twitter. It's just going to be called ThatHappenedPod or something.
I had one for the one Tanner Nicholson and I were going to do called Cool Guys with Issues, but now it's going to be this.
What's it called?
It was going to be called Cool Guys with Issues podcast.
But for the new one. So should we call it That Happened?
Yeah, we'll just call it That Happened with Max and Arash.
We'll have it all there. You'll see.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll call it out. All right. Thank you, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.
Yeah.